Hello, everybody, and welcome to the afternoon tune. I'm your host, Josh. With me is my special guest co-host today, Mike Hedgewood from Mike Gray Works. There, how's it going there, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you. As always, been on many times before. Usually on these Sundays here, reviewing a bunch of stuff with me. It is good to see you again. Last thing we reviewed, I believe it was Logan. Was the last thing
Mm,
we reviewed together here. That film there from 2017. The Swan Song for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine character.
yeah,
You gotta get that, but I don't know.
they
Maybe some people
crowed
thought it was
they
ruined.
crowed him and brought him back.
Yeah. Maybe some people thought it was kind of ruined by Deadpool and Wolverine, but you kind of got that. But it's all right. But hey, man, it's good to see you. Let
hmm
people know about you, what you got going on, what you got working on, man.
Yeah. I'm a animator, writer, and stuff like that. I'm working on like two independent projects right now. Nothing too big, but one of them should be out right now. A lot of the animators have worked on professional stuff like Hitmonkey and like Disney shows and like Amazon shows and all that good stuff. But yeah, like that's gonna be out pretty soon, so you gotta make sure to check that out. Um, and yeah, just showing some cool like storyboards and jazz like that. Uh, yeah, and that's something we're working on pretty special. That was actually a graphic novel. Uh, I did a podcast not too long, well, interview with postmodern arts who is going to that's going to be out pretty soon, all that stuff. Yeah, the postmodern art podcast. Sorry, I always have trouble pronouncing this their thing, but yeah, that's going to be out soon. That's going to be cool, and you can get more into like the depths of like my like the history behind some of the stuff.
And this is your YouTube channel right here, Gray
Yep.
Works. There, people can post up your interviews here, your memes,
Yeah, great memes.
awesome dank memes you got
Yeah,
here.
for the
Uh,
kids.
Got your updates on your different shows you're working on,
Yeah.
Mystery Manhattan and Howling Hoods as
hmm
well. So very nice there. You also stream on Twitch
Yeah,
occasionally
yeah.
there.
When I remember.
Usually stream on Twitch there. I think the same name, Gray Works there.
Yeah,
Same
Grey
name
Works
as
like 99 because Grey Works is already taken.
who's the bastard that took Gray Works?
Yeah, I have no idea. But yeah, there's a thing I am curious about because it's like that's such a super specific thing of mine that's like who also came up with that name.
Yeah. So that's weird. Yeah, you should talk to them about that. See if they can sell it to you, maybe.
Yeah,
Have you copyrighted Gray Works already?
I probably should. I might.
Yeah, I don't know. People say it's a good idea, maybe to copyright it. Yeah,
Yeah.
there. So yeah. So all that stuff right there, people pretty much can figure out all your stuff if they go to your Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Gray Works there. You have a link tree there.
hmm
Let me go to it right here. You have your YouTube right here, and you have your two shows linked right here
hmm
as well. All Great Works there. People just search that up and they're able to find your work there.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. And what are we reviewing today? We're going to be reviewing The Crow 1994. It is the 30th year anniversary for The Crow there. Decided to do this since the new Crow film just came out. Have you seen The Crow?
I have not and likely won't.
Yes, there was the new Crow film that came out just recently. It's already on VOD. I think it only lasted like a
Really?
few weeks in theaters. Yeah, before they put it on VOD. And this stars FK Twigs and Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah.
This one there. People said emo John Wick.
Yeah. Is
Uh,
this is this R rated or is it PG-13?
it's R rated.
Okay, that's better.
Yeah, it's R rated there. So yeah, this I think yeah, it's already on VOD, so people can watch it if they so choose to at home. If they have a desire to.
Did this have a bigger loss than that Borderlands movie?
Let me see, because the Borderlands I think made 31 million on a $150 million budget.
Oh my goodness.
The Crow. This was not a very expensive movie.
Okay.
This was $50 million. The budget on this was 50 million.
Okay, that's not bad.
And then I think let's see, how much did it make? Uh, let's see here. So it ended up making so altogether 32. Oh no, 21 million worldwide
Mhm.
on a $50 million budget. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So you gotta have that going with it. Let me what you say. Borderlands movie will be a cult classic though. You think after 20 years, people go like, you know what, the Borderlands movie actually wasn't so bad.
Some people will definitely. Yeah.
When some other piece of garbage comes out, people go like, look back at the Borderlands movie and go like, well, at least this was in color, or at least
Yeah.
it
At
was,
least it had colors and stuff like that, or at least it's like it had some sets or
at least it
whatever.
had this character from the video game or some shit.
Mhm.
They'll say. Um, So I don't know. Maybe it will be. I don't know. You never know with people. You got people going back online talking about the Fantastic Four movie from. Uh,
Yeah, Fan Four Stick.
yeah, some people say like, well, at least they had this going for it. It's like I guarantee you, people will say that when the new MCU
No,
Fantastic Four will come.
definitely. Not even the director of that movie liked that movie because it was a nightmare shooting.
Yeah, I want to see a documentary about that, about the behind the
Mhm.
scenes of what it was like to make that
Yeah.
movie. 'Cause Josh Trank kind of just vanished.
Yeah.
After,
Apparently, he got into a fight with the guy who was like the Reed Richard of that.
oh, Miles Teller.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Miles Teller. Yeah, he got into like a fist fight with him.
Damn. Yeah, he kind of just vanished from that because he had a promising start because Chronicle was huge and
Chronicle's good,
yeah, and then
and
he
I
did.
don't dislike the idea either of like a more horror take on the Fantastic Four, but it's just man, this is just like peak boring movie.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot he did Capone. Ugh. I
Hmm.
heard that was really bad. He did Capone.
I don't think I saw that.
That was the one with Tom Hardy where he's Al Capone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
2020. That was recent. Wow.
Yeah. So that was like his last thing, and it says here he deleted both his Twitter and Instagram. So he
Damn.
completely. And
To be
then
fair, Twitter's a dumpster fire.
yeah.
So
And Max Landis is not doing too much better. Who was the writer on that movie?
hmm.
Yeah, I think the only person who really made it out of that movie okay was Chronicle was Michael B. Jordan. He was the only one that kind of made
Yeah,
it out.
yeah. He
Uh,
was really good in that movie too.
yeah, because Dane DeHaan kind of was starting to. He was getting a lot of work, but then I don't know. I haven't seen him in really much
Mhm.
after. Like the last thing I saw him in was that Valerian movie of 1,000 Planets, I think.
Hmm.
Do you remember that movie?
No, I do not.
Okay. Oh, he was in Oppenheimer. Oh,
Oh, that's cool.
I forgot he was in that. Okay.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan was also in Fan Four Stick as well, which is
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah, Toby Kebbell, he's doing pretty well. He went back to doing like ape stuff with King Kong, so that's cool.
Okay. Is that what he's doing now?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's the face for King Kong.
Oh, he's the motion capture. Oh, okay. Very nice. So yeah, the MonsterVerse stuff there. We're doing all of that.
That's actually a pretty good. That's a cinematic universe that's actually pretty good, all things considered. Right now, it's like still standing the test of time.
Yeah.
Of
You
course, we'll
watch
see in like 10 years, but yeah.
the have you seen the TV show?
Hollow Earth, yes, I have.
Is that what it's called? I thought it was called what's it called? Damn.
Pretty sure.
Monsters and Legends or something or
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was called Hollow Earth. I know there was one on Netflix where it was like it was the oh my god, it was the Skull Island one. It was like animated.
okay, there's that one, and I'm talking about the one Monarch Legacy of Monsters.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was in the Hollow Earth. Sorry.
Yeah,
I think
that,
that's why I was getting. Yeah, Monarch sounds correct.
have you seen that?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was on someone else's Apple TV Plus.
And did you like it?
yeah, I liked it.
So yeah, I liked it. It was pretty good. I don't think those really connect that much as far as like them referencing the characters. The events of those
Mhm.
show in the movie line up there, but I don't think because in the latest MonsterVerse movie, which was Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire,
Mhm.
they go into what that was the Hollow Earth movie.
Yeah, like
Uh,
the actual Hollow Earth, which is just go into it, man.
which I think in the show they established that like the time works differently. So if you
Mhm.
stay in there for like 15 minutes, it's like 20 years or something. It's like 10 years or something in the room, but they didn't do that in the movie, unless I'm misremembering like what they were actually in, unless they were in something different.
I don't think it's really because they're in the humans are in there for like a few minutes, I think. like
Yeah.
maybe an hour or so. So it might have been like a month outside. There wasn't too much stuff going on at the top. So yeah,
Yeah.
the only other stuff on the top was like every now it cut to back to like Godzilla just killing a monster.
Mm. Yeah. But it was fun though. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it
it
was,
was a pretty good movie.
yeah, it was pretty fun though. But yeah. So that's what we got for today's stream. We're gonna be doing The Crow, 1994. Tomorrow I'm doing a stream with Sage from Rated M for Maturity. We're gonna be doing Hunter x Hunter, the Chimera arc,
Mm.
and arc there, and also Tim from Rated M from Immaturity is gonna be giving his review of Elden Ring, Shadow of the Earth Tree there. Um, and then possibly I'm thinking of maybe about doing a Wednesday stream, possibly reviewing Terminator 1984,
Nice.
since the movie is on its 40th year anniversary, the movie from 1984.
Yeah.
And then also the anime is
Oh
we
yeah.
reviewed that Terminator Zero. Have you seen that?
No, but I've been meaning to. I hear it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's solid. It's solid.
Mhm.
I don't think it's better than Terminator Connor
Yeah,
Chronicles,
yeah. That was a
uh,
pretty good show, all things considered.
which I really liked. I really
Mhm.
liked that show quite a bit. I missed that show. But yeah, I don't think it's better than that. And then yeah, we were just talking about with that about the whole franchise of Terminator,
Yeah.
uh, and then Terminator Salvation and that infamous flame out from Christian Bale. He was yelling on the
Mhm.
set, which was which was pretty good.
Pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean he was pissed.
Apparently, a lot of I have heard of like some actors though who were like also on set. They were like, "Oh no, that guy was obnoxious, and someone needed to step in."
Apparently, also that guy was an asshole. He deserved it in a way.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, and I remember Christian Bale, he apologized, like, he
yeah, yeah.
called up to a radio show and
Mhm.
apologized.
Yeah, he talked about it. Like, yeah, I lost my cold, wasn't cold, but it's like, it's like when you are working with professionals, it's like you have a standard because it is a job. It's like you might get a little angry. And we got some great great memes out of it. So,
Yeah. What you think is better, that one or the Mel Gibson, phone call one where
oh
he
boy, probably the Christian Bale one because I just every now and then I think about it. Then I just remember the Family Guy clip of it where they like have it off screen and Peter just goes, "Those are Christmas lights. I put them up there to make everyone happy."
Oh, yeah, when the, yeah, Family Guy even did it where they did a back and forth of it, that one was pretty good there. Yeah, so now we get into it. So maybe, yeah, maybe we'll do that, do a review for
Mhm.
Terminator there. And Friday, Nick will be joining me doing a review for Terminator, not Terminator, Transformers 1. We'll be doing a review for that new
Mm.
anime movie. I hear it's really good.
Brian
Uh,
Tyler Henry's also in that, and he was in Monsterverse as well.
yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's in that. He's busy, busy guy.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. One of the new pros as of now.
Yeah. And also, if I can see it, Dave Bautista's The Killer's Game. If I can
Yeah,
see it.
it's based off a book.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, pretty nice. So if I can see that, then there, and then Dusky might stop by. He wants to. I think sometime in the weekday, maybe Wednesday. We have to work it out. But he wants to come by. He wants to do "Am I Racist?" that movie,
Oh,
and then he wants to do Reagan as well. So he wants to do that. So if you can, and if you can stop by there, you know, you don't want to go see "Am I Racist?"
I
So
don't know. It's like I don't want to like. I'm sure it's bad, but also like the whole like just paying for that ticket would just be like a pain and stuff like that. If anything, just sneak into the movie. Uh, I'm pro that when it comes to these kinds of movies. It's like wasn't the last movie he also did? I remember he made like a his own documentary of like was it like what is a woman and stuff like that, and then he made like he was part of like the Lady Ballers thing.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah,
big
it's
fan.
like I've talked to some people who saw that movie. They're like, it's more sexist than transphobic. Weirdly enough.
Yeah, Ladybug. I haven't seen it. I've only watched somebody's review of it, so take my thing with a grain of salt there.
Mhm.
I watched. I don't know if you know the YouTuber Jose, but he did a review of Lady Ballers there,
The
and
bird guy, Jose.
yeah,
Yeah, he's great. I like his stuff.
so he did a review of it. I listened to that review he did of the movie, and so Lady Bar, because at first when you listen to them talk about it, Jeremy Boring and Ben Shapiro, who are both the creators of the Daily Wire, the whole big media institution there, they said initially they wanted it to be a documentary, at first, but then they couldn't make it a documentary because their whole concept of like just saying like if you just go up to a woman's league and say I'm a woman, even though you fully look like a man, you can't just join a woman's league, so you can't actually do that.
Yeah.
And then the directors of the movie didn't actually want to go through the full step of like actually trying to pretend to transition and do all that stuff like that for it. So they just made this comedy film that's a satire of something that's not really actually happening about
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah,
uh,
that's the Daily Wire in general of like something's not actually happening, but I made it up. So, but they're gonna get genuinely mad about it.
yeah. And then apparently a lot of jokes are just about like, well, women's sports kind of suck anyway, and women's basketball, like who's really watching it anyway? Like, there's a lot of that kind of going on.
Classic 1999 jokes, like really fresh.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
and I mean they did this movie even in like Joanna Man. I mean, he kind of
Yes.
learned
Mhm.
a lesson at the end, even in Joanna Man or something like that.
Also, I mean, everyone else has brought this up, but like, God, that one South Park episode of like Eric Cartman like lying to get into the Olympics and stuff like that. It's like the joke there is like Eric, he lied to get into like Special Olympics, and that's awful. But then he gets creamed because he's not working out, and these are still like athletes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like this movie should just be like, yeah, I'm sure like a bunch of middle-aged schlubby men are gonna be like pro women's athletes.
Yeah. I
That'd be
mean,
great though. I would love basically the Olympics thing of like one of these guys like getting ready to like box like a pro like woman's boxer, and just like after two punches just like I'm done. No, I don't want to do this.
yeah. That would be actually pretty good to see. Yeah. Because you're right. I mean, these people like there's still athletic aspect of it
Mhm.
of like playing a professional sport. That it's not like you
Yeah.
could just get up off your couch and then all of a sudden, yeah, I'll play professional
Yeah, it's
basketball.
kind of like a dumb dude thing mindset in general. Of like I can like I could beat female basketball players. I'm like 6'2". It's like yeah, but she's like she's in the Olympics. It's like I could do it.
Um, yeah, so he might want to come and do that. Yeah. So Wednesday if Dust can do that, and then Friday, and then I don't have a stream plan for Saturday there. But we did a good streams this past Friday, this past Saturday, Friday. We did The Front Room, we
Mhm.
did Speak No Evil, and we did Beetlejuice 2.
Which Speak No Evil, the new one.
Yeah, the new one. I heard the Danish one goes hard. I heard it goes.
It's pretty good. I do think some people kind of how can I put this like amicably, like kind of like think the ending is greater than it is because of how shocking it is, or like how severe it is. It's still a good movie, and it's kind of interesting because in the Danish movie, it's like a Danish and like a Swedish couple, and they meet, and when they're talking to each other, they speak in English. But when the main family is talking to one another, they speak in Danish, and we see subtitles. But when the Swiss family is talking to each other, uh, they talk in their language, but there's no subtitles. So it's like you're just as lost as the family.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. That's interesting. Yeah, I heard it's really good. It's a Shutter original.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So there's that one. So are you gonna check out the remake?
Maybe I've heard some things from some friends. Like, actually, it's pretty good.
Oh.
Yeah, kind of sick of that trailer though. Just
Yeah, I am glad that I don't have to see that trailer. That was playing in front of every movie I saw. I've never seen a trailer for a movie when the movie's coming out this week and they're still playing the trailer in front of
yeah.
me. I've never seen that before. But I don't know. I don't know how it's doing in the box office right now. Speak No Evil. But yeah. But I probably the big winner is probably Beetlejuice 2 is the big winner of the box office
Yeah, it
there.
was fun.
You saw it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't expect to like it as much as I did. It's like a weird praise, but it's like I didn't like. I'm glad it was meaner than I thought it was gonna be. Because I thought it was gonna be one of those nostalgia things of like oh, the characters are back. Oh, we have to have things with such reference. It's like Beetlejuice is still like all that stuff is like it's still like a gross like character and stuff, and like the background all that, as opposed to like I don't know, like one of those like the X-Men 97s, or even like the Ghostbuster remakes, which I not remakes, what do you call them, like
Like
the
reboot, remake,
yeah,
sequel.
with the kids,
Ghostbusters Afterlife.
yeah, that stuff. like continue like legacy sequel, like stuff like that, or like the
Yeah.
Halloween stuff like that. It's like there is like so much of it is drowned in like we're kind of like giving callbacks to this, and like sometimes it's like a little wink, but other times it's just like we're just gonna redo the climax of the last movie, like the Force Awakens.
Uh, that's the legacy sequel, and then even one came out this year, Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F.
Nah, that was good.
That was decent, yeah, it's a decent one. So it's kind of to me, Beetlejuice 2 is around that line of like it's okay, it's all right, you
It does
know.
feel like an actual '90s sequel, kind of. Because
Mm,
Beetlejuice came out in '88. I feel like if Beetlejuice did get its sequel the way they wanted to, it'd probably be of this quality, like almost like Predator 2, if that makes sense.
okay. And did you hear about that canceled movie they were gonna do? Beetlejuice like goes
So
Hawaiian.
yeah, there's been like two. Uh, that one was Beetlejuice Falls in Love.
So yeah, it's just my main issue with this movie is that there's a lot of just kind of plots that
Mhm.
B plots in it, as Dust described it. Like,
Oh yeah, certainly.
it just feels like not really a wholly complete story. It just was like, okay, we got to find some reason to get Beetlejuice back. Like, what's going to be that reason and all that. Like the stuff with Jenna Ortega and the boy in town. Like you can see where that's going to go a mile away. Monica Bellucci, who's pitched as like kind of like one of the big bads of this movie. She's barely even in
I
it.
love her look though.
Yeah,
Her introduction is so good.
good look, good music that was playing when she
Mhm.
was reassembling herself there, and she's beautiful. She's gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
But Tim Burton, he's gonna put his girl in the movie if he's
I
dating
mean,
him.
good for him.
Dating somebody. Say, hey, I'm gonna put you in my movie. So there's that. So yeah,
Catherine O'Hare just like is hilarious. Just
yeah. To me, yeah, she was one of the best things about the movie was Catherine O'Hare. She was a riot. Like every time, every scene she
mhm.
did, bouncing off everybody, she was really good. She was really good there. What rating would you give Beetlejuice 2 anyway?
I'd give it like probably a solid tune in for me.
Okay. Yeah, I gave it like a high stream it,
Okay,
low
yeah.
tune in for me. All right. Let me pull up my notes for this review. Let me go ahead and get started. Go ahead and head out of there, and of course, we'll raid somebody after this. As always, if Lemmy Weeks has any suggestions or if you have any suggestions there, Mike, let me know. But right now, I think who's on right now? Lucky Dog Podcast is on right now. Some good people. Hunter 080 is on right now. So some good people on right now. Streaming. So let's get into it. So our first and only review of the day is going to be for The Crow. No, not the new Crow from 2024. We already did that there. This is The Crow from 1994, starring Brandon Lee. This is 30 years ago that this movie came out. Where did all that time go? So yeah, we have The Crow here, who's directed by Alex Proyas, who's also done movies like Dark City. He also did I, Robot as well. And this is a comic book adaptation here of James O'Barr of his work, and based somewhat on a true story there.
Mhm.
So it details it about a man and a couple there, man and a woman who got brutally murdered in their apartment, and then he comes back for vengeance using the spirit of the crow. And he picks off the people that end up killing him and killing his girlfriend, fiance, actually, one by one there as you see in this movie. So basic movie, simple premise, simple revenge kind of movie that you have here. And talking about The Crow, I think it was Sage, who's from Rated Infantry, talking about this movie. I didn't know there were this many sequels to The Crow.
Yeah, there
Uh,
was even a TV show, I'm pretty sure.
there was a TV show of The Crow. There was multiple sequels of The Crow. There's a great video. I'll pull up that woman's name. There's a great video somebody did of breaking down the whole Crow franchise and the history of The Crow. That's really, really well done. But yeah, there's like numerous sequels of The Crow. There's people like, for instance, speaking about Terminator. Actually, the actor from Terminator 2. What's that actor's name?
The cop, Robert something.
No, the one who played the kid.
John. Oh, God.
Edward Furlong.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was actually the Crow in a sequel there. He was actually there
Hmm.
in one of those movies. So they portrayed it as like a thing where the Crow went around to all these different people and then possessed a new person every time, and then they did that. But none of it ever been as successful as the Crow 1994 there. I heard the sequel did have a good soundtrack though. I did hear that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Have you ever seen any of the sequels?
Yeah, I saw part of City of Angels.
Okay, part of it.
Yeah.
You just stopped
It was
watching it?
on TV. It was on MTV.
Okay. And then yeah, like I said, I mean, part of the reason why we're reviewing this is because the new Crow is out right now. We did a review of it. It's going to be up on the channel, youtube.com, pretty soon here. This afternoon too. We did a review of this. I mean, spoiler the review. Yeah, we didn't like it. It was pretty bad there and kind of what they did. And it's funny, and we're gonna talk about a little bit about the two because I've seen it and kind of what it does. Because with the Crow 2024, it actually expands the relationship between the couple there
Mm.
because that's most of the beginning of the movie. Yet it feels like you still don't know really all that much about them, and then everything is kind of feels kind of rushed there. So with the Crow 1994, you do have Eric Draven, who is the Crow there, played by the Brandon Lee, who this movie's also very famous for him passing away. He was killed on set there during an accident, a mishap there with a gun, and it went off and it ended up killing him. So that's part of why this movie is as well remembered as it is. But Brandon Lee, I mean, really great actor, probably had a really bright future ahead of him. He passed away at the age of 28. There's a very, very young guy there. It's one of those cases of like, Hollywood kind of stories of man, if this guy had lived longer, he probably would have had a really, really fabulous career there. And of course, he's also the son of Bruce Lee,
Bruce Lee.
of course, which he's also there for. So, Mike, what did you think about The Crow 1994?
The Cr- the This is kind of an interesting movie for me because The Crow is a series I kind of like actually kind of gave an effort to uh consume in my when I was like 22, and because all I do is I hear the praises of it. I know the visualizations. I know all like the abstract. I know all the iconography and stuff like that. I know the look. I know the titular crow and the leather jacket, of course. But and the tragic story behind it with both Brandon Lee and the writer of the and like why he wrote the crow. He wrote the crow because he was like in a messed up state after his girlfriend very sadly drowned in a car accident. Uh, and yeah, he translated that to like the crow. Uh, and the thing is, I watched this movie. Uh, I like I see the miniatures, I see the action. It's all there, but I feel like I don't like this movie as much as like other things. Like I do like it, but I don't like love it. I feel like everything is there for me. It might just be one of those things of like I get why it's such a big deal, why there's so much reverence for it, especially with the cultural impact of Brandon Lee's passing and like this also coming out like in that era of like doing a bit more like a harder adaptation of like a comic book superhero kind of thing. And that's all great. And like all the stuff like the miniatures and like the action scenes and like the looks, that's all good. I just I don't know, like I really I like this movie a lot, but it's like I don't have the exact same like reverence for it as some other people. But I do get why it is there, especially if you were like kind of like maybe a bit older than me or a bit younger when you consumed this the first time or you were like there. Because it is a fascinating story behind it. But yeah, it's a good movie, but it's just I guess it's just not something that landed entirely for me.
Mm. So with this movie, I mean, it things because I rewatched it very recently for the review, and it's funny how this movie opens up like right away
Mhm.
with kind of the action. It introduces the city. You see it. It's kind of the city on fire, and they're in Detroit.
Mhm.
By the way, and if for some reason Detroit always portrayed as a hellscape in a
Shithole.
lot of in a lot of movies. This RoboCop, Beverly Hills Cop, even it's portrayed as kind of like a
Yeah.
hellscape there.
Barbarian even.
Was that oh, yeah, that was also in Detroit, yeah,
Mhm.
Barbarian, yeah.
No, I think it was filmed in Belgium, I believe.
Yeah, so, that's just kinda thing so the movie opens up right away with that kinda gothic style, with the cities, the buildings, the whole city, the buildings, everything like that, something that also Alex Porsick said he would carry on with Dark City, which also has that very gothic style. So the city automatically already has personality, it has that feeling of, like, you're already in
Mhm.
this place, as opposed to, like, the 2024 movie where I feel like it's just basically, I don't even know. I don't think they even say what city they're in, but it just looks like Chicago, maybe not even really not much identity to it.
Yeah.
It's given it's just like a city. And the murder happens right away. I mean, the murder happens, you see it, and already, you're ready to root for this character given what happens to him and to his fiance there. Um, so I like that automatically kind of right how it just kind of opens and then it cuts
Mhm.
to a year later and then that's when he rises and that's when he becomes the crow there, which was something. And this is the YouTuber here I mentioned before, Yahira Zahi, who did a great video if you want to check
Mm.
it out, about the crow, about all the sequels of the crow, also about the legacy of the crow there. She did a really, really great video. If people want to check that out, I highly recommend people check that out and go see it. But yeah, and so I kind of like that opening kind of right away there. Like I said, with the 2024 film, it kind of spends time with Eric and with FK Twigs, who let me see, let me get the actual character's name there. Yeah, Sarah, as he was called there, Sarah. So first of all, they rush way into love there. They have only known each other for like a week. All of a sudden, it's just a lot of telling you how much in love they are
Mm.
instead of actually showing it. Here, I think they actually show it, and you actually
Yeah.
really do feel something. And then you actually do see him become this kind of character for vengeance there. Also, with this 1994 film, you have kind of a lot of classic actors in this. You
Yeah,
have
Ernie Hudson.
Ernie Hudson's in there, Ghostbuster. You know what I mean himself. He's in here. You also have Tony Todd, Candyman himself is in here. You have Michael Wincott who's in here as well, who's in this film. So yeah, I mean, nice kind of 90s kind of cast in this
Mhm.
movie as well that has a lot of personality. Also, the villains of the movie have personality, and
Mhm.
that makes you hate them even more. They're not just kind of blank, you know, uh, people that's just there. They actually have a personality, and to see the creative ways in which he kills them is kind of very interesting there. Um, so you said that amongst kind of other comic book films, this isn't kind of top of your list there.
No, which is I, this, this might just be a bit unfair, but it's like perhaps if I did see this like of the era, or like I was younger when I say like maybe a teenager, or like I was more into it when like I grew up more into it or stuff like that. I feel like maybe that could have like because this is similar to like a lot of my favorite like kind of like movies like this, like your as you've mentioned, like kind of like it's even a bit like RoboCop. It's kind of like Darkman. It's kind of like even like something like Hellboy, or like this is a very kind of like classic like gothic kind of like revenge story. Uh, or like even like Tim Burton's Batman and stuff like that, and like play with like the fact the city has a character, and like I get so much of the appeal of it, but I feel like it's just kind of like for me it's a bit too bare bones, which in a way I can like respect, of like not making it overly complicated or not doing like too much, like working really well with what it has. I think it kind of feels like the world itself kind of like went from like also being like very very like grounded with some hints of supernaturality to like we're gonna have like a ninja fight with one of the villains and stuff like that, with the sword and everything, which kind of I wouldn't say took me out a bit, but like because it is like a fun action scene, but it's like it's not really there for me. Or even like something like
You
I
talking
don't
about this scene right here? This scene? What are we talking
know.
about here?
No. The main guy, he had like a ninja sword.
Oh, that guy,
Yeah,
Michael
yeah,
Wincott.
or even like Blade, because I feel like the stylization just, and of course, there's so much stuff happened behind the scenes with this movie that like I understand, and I do, like I'm not like, oh, this is bad because of it, but it's like I just feel like it's not as emotionally connected to me as compared to like something like Blade, or even like Darkman or Hellboy or stuff like that. Uh, I do really like a lot of the stuff in the movie. Like I like his relationship with the little girl. It's kind of uh, a great It's always a nice thing to see of like the more darker, more villainous figure, like a young innocent to protect. But yeah, it just wasn't like uh like like it wasn't just like the holy, like it wasn't the holy shit kind of thing for me. It was like, oh, this is good. It's like I like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the movie, I mean, it's well remembered not just because of Brandon Lee and him kinda passing away. I
Mhm.
think that adds an extra element to it because of the premise of the movie and the whole thing of, like, being reborn again and he comes back, and that kinda helps, so it's like, you watching this movie does feel like Brandon Lee is you're watching him again, and he's kinda born again through
Mhm.
his performance and watching this, and he does really excel at playing this
Yeah.
character of, Eric Draven, and you see when he does kinda come back, um, and that's also another thing is that he kinda learns martial arts real quickly, like, I guess
Yeah.
the spirit of the crow also gives him, that kinda martial arts experience because like, when he's fighting characters, he has that in there. Again, like you said, this is, like, early on in the movie that he's kills, like, really one of
Mhm.
the bad guys of it, and kinda gets his revenge there, and it's kinda crazy how this does work because there's even a scene where he's on the roof playing guitar
Mhm.
and music, which maybe in a today, if that would have been so corny, but I don't know, maybe it's just 'cause it
It
is
was
the
the era for it, probably.
the era for it is the '90s, it has that, and the soundtrack also, with this movie is also really good, like,
Mhm.
when you look at a lot of people here, you have, Nine Inch Nails is in this, you got, Henry Rollins, his band is in this as well. So, you got a lot of good classic '90s rock bands that are also in this as well.
Mhm.
And he's got his own Commissioner Gordon Batman
Mhm.
relationship with the Ernie Hudson character, him kinda going there, um,
Who's
and
really good in this movie. I really like all of Ernie Hudson's scenes. Their relationship's really, it's always like it was really great seeing that on screen.
Yeah, and, like, he's always in those scenes, especially those scenes with him and also the scenes with the little girl, allow him to kinda open up. He's not
Mhm.
just this dark, brooding figure that's just kinda looking for vengeance. Like, those scenes really help, and are very comical here. Like, this scene right here, I think really does that, really well.
Good likeness. So your body, man, you died. You got buried. You still have your hat on. You gotta sit down. Shit.
And there's a purpose for him to kinda be in the makeup and wear that because you see, like, his fiancée, Sarah, she was an actress, so it's kind of a
Mhm.
purpose for him to have that on. It's kind of a tribute to her as opposed to him just putting on, like,
Yeah.
makeup and everything like that in it there.
Yeah. His personality does kind of shift a lot, but that is also kind of like work with the fact of like he's kind of like meant to be like borderline schizophrenic in this. Like kind of magic is doing it, but like he has voices in his head, and like the only good voice is like the crow. Uh and so he's like kind of insane. It's like who are you talking to right now? Who's in charge, and like kind of also like how kind of violent he can get. Can also like shift from scene to scene. Uh yeah, I do like also I like all the, kind of scenes where we see it from both his, I like that, like how kind of like not super big a lot of his abilities are, like how he can probably be beaten by like just enough people. And like with stuff like yeah, he can see through like the kind of like see into the past a bit, or like see people's perspective, because he sees like the his girlfriend's like death from her point of view and stuff like that, where he's like hunting down all the guys and stuff, like a different, it's filmed differently, with like, the camera being entirely, the tint being entirely red. But there's also stuff uh like he can be like, if people like grab the crow, it can just stop him. I don't know, I feel like while very like visceral, I never really. It just might be the fact of like so many comic book stuff and like movies in general have like done this, or like also taken inspiration from The Crow that they went on, that like I feel like are kind of like overall more solid, because I think I like The Crow, both the movie and the comic, more in like an abstract sense, like a beautiful painting and like the whole story behind it,
Okay.
as opposed to like, oh, getting into the specific details. Because like when I compare this to something like Dark Man, which I know that came out a bit earlier, like I feel there's more of a or like even RoboCop, which came out earlier as well. I can feel more of like the weight of the horror of realization with those characters, like when Murphy comes back home, his wife and kids aren't there, when Darkman finds out that he can't like feel anymore, and that sets in a bit more. It's a bit more unique for me. But yeah, it's not. Yeah, that it sounds like I dislike this movie. I don't. I like it like quite a bit, but it's just like yeah, it was just it wasn't a movie I've been terribly in love with. I think it's a very good movie, and like I respect its like pop culture sass and stuff like that, but it's like it didn't hit terribly home for me.
Yeah. And Darkman came out in 1990, so it came
Yeah.
out 4 years before The Crow.
I also had a bunch of sequels which weren't good.
And I mean, what? So that's kind of a comic film you'd mostly kind of compare The Crow to, is something like Darkman.
Probably, well, in comics in general, I would say probably Spawn or John Constantine would be the main comparison. But movie-wise, especially of this close era, I would say Darkman is probably the closest comparison of like because they are like virtually back from the dead. They're in a lot of respects they're movie monsters, with Darkman being like Frankenstein and the Invisible Man. Well, you know, the Crow is like a possessed zombie. And with like the Crow does also have like a very grunge look to it, and I like that too. Like I like the whole look of this movie, but like I don't know. I just feel like some of these elements mixing together just wasn't quite for it for me. Like a really solid movie, but just not just not like that thing.
And speaking of some of the abilities of the Crow, so obviously resurrected, and then invulnerability is one of the abilities, so people can just shoot through him, and then he can just heal automatically there. Of course, I think he still feels it when people shoot it, but he just can heal automatically. He can touch people and be able to I guess see the visions there or perspectives. Like he touches Ernie Hudson's character, and he's able to see his fiance Sarah, her death. He's able to feel that pain and feel that they're almost kind of like a Ghost Rider type thing, like Ghost Rider, yeah.
Empathetic manipulation, I guess.
Because there's even seen with the bad guy at the very end, Michael Wincott, where he transfers all the pain that he's felt and he gives it to him. He takes it to him, and then he kind of like overloads there.
I'm trying to think when the Ghost Rider comic came out. I think it came out before the Crow movie, but I did, read a lot of Ghost Rider comics beforehand, and that kind of had the Penn and Stare thing. And I feel like that might have also been an influence on me because I've seen this kind of like thing of like giving someone's punishment, giving the pain they inflicted onto others onto them.
Yeah, so Ghost Rider first appeared in 1972.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So I was also thinking of like the animated show of like, okay, when he appeared in like Spider-Man. So it was probably around the same time. But yeah, the Penn Stare is like, and this is like, it's like a classic, kind of like more gothic, like dark, like superhero kind of thing or dark comic book kind of thing. But it is a great like comic balance. But visually, it just wasn't as interesting for me with The Crow in some respects.
Yeah. So you get some of that with his abilities. What do you think about the villain? What do you think about Michael Wincott, the main?
I think they're pretty good, especially for this era. I wouldn't like quite call them like the. I like a lot of their looks as well. So I was just gonna mention the long hair does kind of give me like almost like kind of like vampire-esque vibes. But overall, like it's a pretty good villain team. It does feel like kind of like, I don't mean this in a bad way, but almost like student filming of like work with what you know, like improvise a bit and just like have fun. I feel like I like him more in the suit here than when he was in like kind of that like the Blade kind of like black like tight jacket and stuff like that with the sword. Yeah, this is all good. But yeah, he's a good villain, but he's not like, I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna remember more so the actor than the villain. Yeah. And they're what they do to the the Eric Draven. I was close. Eric Draven, his girlfriend, is awful. But it's like I feel like it's not as dragged out or as kind of like they're almost like don't have as much time to be as fun like the RoboCop gang
Mm.
with uh Clarence Boddicker, who's just like the most hateable villain of all time. But it's like they're a fun gang as well. I think it's also kind of something that's other movies can incorporate more, like especially like superhero movies as well, which we are kind of seeing a bit more. But when you compare it to like a Black Panther or like a Captain America kind of movie, where it's like the villains are kind of like vague military-ish guys, and they're all wearing like similar uniforms. Here, they all have like different hats. They have different like swords, and there's even one scene that did get like an unintentional chuckle of me. It's when the cop is like talking about the gang, and he brings up a picture of them, and they're all like in the car, like posing, like it almost looks like they're like part of like a music, like a band.
What's it? Is that the scene where he draws like the picture on it a little bit? Like he draws the.
I think
Or
so, yeah. But yeah, you
yeah.
see like like yeah, they are very like stylized. That
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, the villains in this, I mean, they're kind of like you had '90s villains like this that were kind of this ragtag group of deplorables there that would go
Mhm,
around doing, and they each have their own like I guess specialty of what they do.
mhm,
Like the black guy's like he's got the knives, that's his thing.
yeah,
The other guy's more into arson, explosions, that type of stuff. So each of them has their own kind of thing there, and then also one of the people who's part of the gang there is the one that actually ended up firing the gun that ended up killing Brandon Lee. Michael Massey was one of the members there. He played his character was Fun Boy. Was that was the character? Let me show a picture of him there. And he actually retired from acting for a little bit. He actually retired for about a year. And that's this actor. He's appeared in other things throughout the years there. I've seen him in quite a number of things. But yeah, he was the one that ended up doing that. And I mean, he
yeah. He
felt so.
has. Yeah, I like the scenes of like compassion the crow has with like his girlfriend. I think it was his girlfriend who was like the heroin addict and stuff like that.
Yeah, that
Who
was the little girl's mother. Yeah.
Yeah, her. Because I remember like blonde and like kind of taking that away from her and him saying like stop this. That was good and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's just also the scene with the. I feel like it could have also like it might just be the problem of like we've seen so much like insane like revenge fantasy and like violent stuff that and like that's so creative as well that like the crow kind of feels almost like a bit mundane by comparison in some respects.
Like something like John Wick or something.
Yeah, John Wick or like a Kratos or something where it's just like so excessive. uh Especially when it's like revenge, it's like no, it's like this is like the crow, this is like the dark thing, or even like some respects of like Tim Burton's Batman when he like shoves a thing of dynamite down a guy's pants and like pushes him into a well.
And it's actually funny enough. I mean, the guy Chad Stahelski from John Wick's actually a stunt double for the
Yeah,
Crow.
yeah, he
And
was. Didn't he finish a lot of this movie?
yeah, yes, he
Okay,
did. Yeah,
okay.
because when
'Cause-
he finished up a lot of the other stunt stuff there
Mhm.
for Brandon Lee when he couldn't, obviously he couldn't do it after passing away, so he
Yeah,
finished it up. Yeah.
yeah. The CGI also looks pretty good, especially for the year it came out. Because there's one scene where he like his hand heals after he gets shot through it. Uh,
Let me see. Let me go to that scene there. But you mentioned this scene, where it's kind of like I said, I mentioned the Ghost Rider thing, where it's kind of like he just guilt trips people into
yeah.
being good people eventually. Let me.
Mother is the name for God on the lips and hearts of all children.
Do you understand?
Morphine is bad
Mhm.
for you. Your daughter is out there on the streets waiting for you.
Yeah, so you kind of got that there. So yeah, he kind of does. That's like one of his, I guess, just
Mhm.
huge guilt trip.
Oh yeah.
There is kind of one of his superhero abilities. It's pretty. And you mentioned this scene also as well. So when he kind of heals, and this is when he attacks the pawn shop owner, who's also a part of it as well. Right?
Looking for something in an engagement. Oh,
You looking for a coroner? Shit for brains? Oh,
It's not bad, I would say. It's
Yeah.
actually pretty decent. I would say.
shit on me.
Nice.
Shit on me!
Yeah, it's actually not kind of bad
Hmm.
there for 90s effects, I would say. And just also the models they do to also with the city as you mentioned before. Yeah, that also looks kind of good there.
Mhm.
And it's always nighttime. It's always raining there in the city. Makes it really
Yeah.
drab and kind of depressing.
It's impressive how like the makeup they got the makeup to stay on despite like how wet his hair looks in a lot of this.
So that was another good thing too. Yeah, just the hair and makeup also with this is very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that Brandon Lee really sells this thing more than anything?
Yeah, I think he's really great. I think that's kind of like it's kind of the thing when you because there's not a lot of things you like it's kind of like unavoidable to talk about the Crow movie because it's so tied to Brandon Lee and stuff like that. And his very tragic passing at such a young age, which just like uh, it's yeah, like, and he does do a very good job because he has to be manic in some scenes, he has to be very empathetic in some, he has to be kind of casual like a normal guy in a few scenes. But yeah, I think he does a really great job, especially the stunt work, because of course, he did various martial arts up until this point, so he was able to do I think the majority of his own stunts. But it's one of those like movies for me where it's like I get the appeal, it just doesn't appeal to me as much.
What would be your rating for it? Then?
I think I'd give it like a maybe a low tune in for me, but I would understand why other people like rate it higher.
For me, I would give The Crow strong tune in to a high kind of tune in there, bordering maybe on a little bit of peak. But like I said, what it really does. I mean, yes, Brandon Lee is really great in this. And I also think that he really sells this movie given how great a performance he is, and it's one of those great Hollywood what if kind of stories. If he was able to continue his career, given how young he was, just to see what he would have done there in different performances, that would have been kind of really great to see. But also, you do have also a good cast of people there as well, with kind of Ernie Hudson, with Michael Wincott as well in this that really kind of sell it as well. The villains also are really good in this. To see it helps having people that you really want to see him fuck up. You really want to see him kill. In this, that really helps. The city is given life and personality, so that makes something like a kind of like a Gotham City to to it. That also kind of helps it as well in it. Much like what we see like just recently like in the Batman there, like something like that. Like the city actually has personality and life. The action of the movie I think is very good too, what he kind of does. And the movie it doesn't take long to get into things. And to finally for him to carry out his revenge there. That doesn't take long. It is kind of like I don't know if you can maybe recreate this again given the circumstances of what this was, the era of the time it was. Maybe it's just something that can't be recreated again. Maybe that's just
I think it's a movie that even if I would say there's probably a level of like a kind of like recreation you can't do. I do think there can be a movie of there's quality again, stuff like that. But I don't think it would have the exact same success or almost like cult following status it has now. Because I don't think it did terribly well at the box. I think it did fine, but I don't think it I think it was the DVD sales that kind of helped it a lot. But yeah, I think it's one of those movies of you can make something of this quality, but this really came out at the time when it was going to be the big thing. If you made the exact same if you put this movie into a vault or something and released it now without any of the former history and stuff like that, I think people will be like, this is good. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, yeah, like I said, compared to all the other sequels, like City of Angels, Salvation, Wicked Prayer, this new one, I mean, this still is great. And then people have talked about it. Like the director of the movie, the creator of the comic book, James O'Barr, of going like this was like he had a very close relationship with Brandon Lee, who
Yeah.
played him, and then he was this was great. I mean, he was the
Yeah.
perfect person to play the Crow.
I would say, well, I wouldn't, I ideally wouldn't remake this movie because it's just going to be always going to be compared to the first one. I would cast someone like a Bill Skarsgård for this role. I do think he fits in this very well. See, he does have that like kind of like off look, like very very like notable, very like strong like cheekbones and definition. I think he's also like fairly tall, and he can like he can still gothic pretty well.
Yeah, I think he's 6'4". He's 6'4".
Mhm.
And the actors who were considered for the reboot of 2024 Crow.
I'm gonna just make one guess. What wasn't was there ever like a consideration of like oh God, what's his name? It's the guy who he's the cult guy, the weird guy.
That doesn't narrow it down.
Michael Morbius and the Joker.
Jared Leto?
Jared Leto. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like he would have been like in the like maybe the pool for a bit until like all that other shit came out. They're like, not Jared Leto.
So some of the actors, I don't see his name listed here, but some of the actors I know of. So Jason Momoa,
Really?
he was there, and I think he did like screen testing for the Crow. Like you can actually see him, like in maybe some of the makeup and everything like that. Like this is him right here. He actually he looks more like Lobo actually.
Oh yeah, I mean that was a popular fan cast for a while.
So this was like he did like test footage for it, and so they did that because this was, I mean, the 2024 Crow was in development hell forever. It was in hell. So this is him. This is Jason Momoa as the Crow. He's got kind of the same facial structure as kind of Brandon Lee actually when he's in.
I think it might be also the way to make up like the black lips are formed, which might help. But
yeah. So this was him. He was considered for it. Also Jack Houston. Jack Houston, he was the actor from, I don't know if you ever seen Boardwalk Empire. He was the guy with the half face in it.
I think so.
Okay, he was in that. He was considered for it. Also Luke Evans was considered for it. Bradley Cooper was considered, and Mark Wahlberg was considered.
That's man. Mark Wahlberg would be such a weird choice for this. When was he? Because you said it was in development hell for a bit. Was this considered like 2015, 2016, 20?
Yeah, it was kind of around that territory.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because this has been around for a long time before they settled on Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah, okay.
Him
before Mark Wahlberg just showed how fucking crazy he was. Just like even more so when he's not on the stuff. We all know what Mark Wahlberg's up to or was up to when he was a teenager.
And the budget on the Crow 1994, the budget on it was $23 million. It ended up making a box office of $94 million.
Okay,
so
it's not bad, especially for the time. This wasn't the era of like doing crazy marketing or stuff like that either.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, you gave it kind of a low tune in. I gave it kind of a strong high tune in for the Crow 1994. Yeah. I recommend people check it out. I really like this movie quite a bit. It was fun going back, fun watching it again there. Man, watching it. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna be heading out of here. Mike, one more time. Let people know where they can find you. What you got going on? What you got coming up next, man?
Hi, I'm Mike from Greyworks. You can find me on Greyworks. Just search on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, anywhere basically, and you will find me. I am working on 2 indie animated projects as well. Or if you just want to follow me for some cool memes I say, or like whatever I talk about, movies or TV shows I just plan on talking about. All that's good. Or follow my buddy Red. Who they are, follow me for my obsession of Warren Beatty as well, as Dick Tracy. That's also kind of another movie that very, very much utilizes color. All that good stuff, and we will be making more stuff and all that in general pretty soon. That's our Logan review. I love that movie. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Very much appreciated. This is your YouTube right here as well. You can check you out right here. It's also giving updates, interviews, discussions there.
You know,
Very nice. Smiths in Manhattan. Also,
Ape
what's that
Talk.
going on? Howlin' Helix as well. People can check out some of your animation right there, see what's going on. Very, very awesome. And you're also on Twitch, twitch.tv. Great Works there. Great Works 99. Somebody else took Great Works.
Yeah.
Great Works 99.
I'll fix that.
I'm gonna maybe send you over to, let's see, Lucky Dog Podcast. They're on right now. I'm gonna send you all over to him. He's playing that good old Fortnite right now. Thanks again, Mike, for joining me
All
on
right.
this
Yeah,
day.
thank you for
there,
having me
man.
on. Yeah.
Very much appreciate always having you on there. You can catch a stream in Monday. I'm gonna be back with Sage, Rated Infinite Maturity. We're gonna be doing a stream for Hunter x Hunter and also Elden Ring. Shout out to Urtree, do a review for that as well. All right, people, stay tuned.
All right. Yeah, take it easy.